You see this right here? This is a $500,000 piece of paper, and this is my Doctor of Dental Surgery degree from New York University's College of Dentistry. And today, I'm making this video to show why I think dental school has failed all of us. I'm here to expose the truth about dental school. And I'm parting ways with this degree. So in today's video, I'm gonna shed light on all the insufficiencies that I see with the current dental school education system. The same system that has shackled thousands of students to soul-crushing student loan debts, and also leaves a bunch of us inadequately trained to handle real-world dentistry. I truly believe that the way dental school is set up in America makes it one of the worst places to learn dentistry in the world. And if I sound a little bit angry, it's because I'm paying off over $500,000 of student loan debt for a degree that frankly I don't feel prepared me enough to handle the real world and be a competent practicing dentist right out of school. Now, the saying goes that you'll learn more in your first month after graduation than you will in all 4 years of dental school. This is exactly the situation that we must all deal with. But why? What does this really say about the current state of dental education in America? And I know it's a sensitive topic and it's not easy to talk about, but it needs to be addressed. Because right now, it's failing all of us who make up the next generation of oral health care providers. One of the biggest problems that I see with dental school education is that we simply don't have enough hands-on experience while in school. And the things we do in school don't even line up to what a normal dentist does in their daily practice. And this is why I hardly ever meet dentists who tell me they were fully prepared to handle dentistry outside of school. Most of us take these questionable jobs. Maybe they'll do a residency because they don't feel comfortable practicing in the real world. Because in my 4 years of dental school, I was only really practicing dentistry for like 18 months, and that was like on and off. And I do not think that the dentistry I was doing in school was any way really relatable to what I currently do now as a dentist. Like in school, I was just doing super basic fillings that I would spend an hour and a half on a cleaning, 2 to 3 hours on a new patient exam. And when you really think about how that translates to current day dentistry today when you're a private practicing dentist, it's not even close. It would take me 2 hours to prep a crown in dental school. And half the time is like waiting for faculty, swipes, that really just prevents students from learning more. And that was a really big problem that I saw, at least at NYU Dental. Looking back, I really remember how much of my time was a complete waste. When I'm doing my new patient exams, I would be perio probing, doing paperwork forever and ever, like medical history. Oh, blood pressure is slightly elevated. Can't do the extraction today. Patient's in excruciating pain. No way, let's send them home. All the denture stuff that we learned in school is handled by a denture tech now. Like I don't even touch that stuff. Like I do the impressions and I'm making small adjustments, but that stuff that we learned, I get that you need to know the analog versions of these things to understand from beginning to end how it works. So in my current practice, I do a lot of implant surgeries. And I know when I came into school, I wanted to be like an all-on-4 implant oral surgeon type dentist. So I was like, okay, I'm spending a lot of money on this education. Surely I'll get enough of the education that I'll be able to do this stuff outside of school. The first step to placing implants is literally just tooth extractions. Yet I was so inadequately trained on extractions in school that it was so sad. Putting things in perspective, I may have taken out like 30 to 50 teeth in dental school. But I remember in my first day of private practice working for Aspen, I literally took out 30 teeth in 1 day. And it was such a shock to me. And in a single day, I just matched my clinical requirements to graduate is crazy. And God forbid you ever had to make a flap or use a surgical handpiece in dental school. They would not allow us to touch or try these things. And if you're not doing these things to take teeth out, you're gonna be a very bad exodontist and your patients are gonna feel much more trauma. These things need to be taught better. And if you ever want to place implants and you don't know how to do these things, it's gonna be a nightmare for you to start learning. Like there is a lot of liability from the dental school to allow students to practice under their license. I understand that. But because the way it's set up like this, there is zero incentive for them to challenge you and prepare you for the real world. Like think about what other business has thousands and thousands of people itching to pay for your product. Then you get the product and now You're responsible for producing money for the business that you paid for. Students are making production dollars for the school after paying for tuition. Doesn't really make sense. In a capitalistic society, you have businesses that are competing with each other. Some businesses do good, some do bad. The bad ones get reviews, people talk badly about them, and then those businesses fail over time. But that's just not the case for dental schools. It's simply a broken system. And this is why new schools are popping up every year, because it's simply a great business model for anybody to take under. Are there any other clinical procedures that are taught really well in dental school? How about ortho? How about root canals? My endo training in school was extremely subpar. I practiced on a plastic tooth one time, and the next time I did an endo was on a live patient. NYU has a specialty department for everything, which made it quite challenging to become a well-rounded, competent general dentist. But I took the matters into my own hands. I did a lot of endos on extracted teeth, and I think this is a really good way to practice endo and get better at it. And I actually graduated with honors in endo. Out of my class of 385, I think I did the most endos in the entire class. I still did not feel prepared to do endo at a fast clinical pace like in private practice. And I can only imagine the kids who graduated with canals now having to pretty much refer out cases for the rest of their lives simply because they didn't have enough training that they could have in dental school. I'm not really the best at endo, but I'm still trying to learn. Liar! I'm challenging myself by taking on more molars and really making time to develop my skill set, which I think is important for any dentist coming out. And how about the specialty that undoubtedly brings the most students into dentistry? I'm talking ortho. Surely your $300,000 to $500,000 dental education will teach you how to bend a 14 9-tie wire, bond a Roth bracket, maybe fix simple class 1 malocclusion cases. Nope, zero. I had zero exposure to clinical orthodontics in school. I would actually try to sneak into ortho lab and just try to get a sneak peek of what's going on. It's like, that stuff's super exciting. I couldn't watch the residents or even shadow. You had to have crossed so many different barriers at NYU to even have the chance to get on a list to shadow, which was crazy. Same thing with perio, same thing with prost. They wouldn't allow us to shadow as much as we wanted or even volunteer in the clinics, which is absurd. Okay, now let's talk about the actual mess that is clinical education in dental school, where you actually get to do the hands-on work that you signed up for. I think once you start school, you quickly realize just how little the administrative faculty and even the teaching faculty on the clinic floors actually care about how much you're paying for this education. Partly because they didn't even pay a fraction of what we're paying. I recall just so much wasted time in clinic to do things that I have nothing to do with nowadays. I'm talking about setting up chairs, taking x-rays, perio charting, doing my own paperwork, filling out medical history. All of this random stuff was just eating away at the amount of hours I was able to even do anything else in clinic. I had to wait a really long time for my faculty to come over and swipe off my work. I'd do a filling, take me 15 minutes, and I'm waiting 30 minutes to get swiped off by my floor faculty. And as busy as I tried to be in dental school, I still found myself sitting around for a large portion of the time, get enough patients in my chair at all times that I'm assigned to be in clinic. For the sake of the argument, I would say that if you use your tuition dollars, everything really depends on the time you spend in clinic. So take your tuition money and divide it per hour in clinic you are for those 2 last clinical years. You'll find out that the price per hour is outrageous. Actually, drop it in the comments below. Hypothetical numbers, I paid about $90,000 in tuition for NYU Dental. And per year, there was about 250 clinic hours. So if you do the math, the cost per hour was $370. No matter how you run the numbers, I became really frustrated. This was my time to become a doctor of dental surgery. This was my dream as a kid. I learned how to do amazing cleanings in school, great. But any of the specialty work, it was just all theory and information that we could have read in textbooks. Very rarely was I able to do complex root canals, learn how to do complex extraction, really see how implants are being placed in the perio clinic, or even seeing all-on-4s being restored in the pros clinic. The 3 fastest growing fields in dentistry are implant dentistry, clear aligners, and digital dentistry. Yet, why am I being kicked out of dental school without having any exposure to this, and I have to figure this all out in the real world? Instead, for weeks on end, I'm left crafting dentures from scratch, putting plastic teeth into wax, which is literally not even dentist work, it is lab work. And when you graduate, this stuff gets outsourced anyways. I get that we have to learn the theory, but the amount of time dedicated to useless stuff in school just didn't add up to me. All right, so the next topic I want to talk about is the didactic portion of dental school. Put in perspective, my first year tuition was about $90,000. Yet, I felt that my time and money was a complete waste, especially in my D1 year. All we did was go over all the stuff we already learned in undergrad. And all that stuff, except dental anatomy and the drilling practicals of D1, was just a recap of undergrad. Like seriously, why am I learning about hemidesmosomes? And why am I learning about histology slides? None of this has anything to do with my daily life as a practicing dentist. And the most ironic thing about all of this is that most of the irrelevant information taught in dental school makes up the bulk of your GPA in the first 2 years. So if you want to specialize, you need to be able to memorize all this dry, useless information like cellular respiration and epidemiology to specialize and do more complex dentistry, even though that information has very little to do with how to do a root canal or how to do oral surgery or how to treat a crying kid as a pediatric dentist. Which brings us to a more generalized problem, is that the bulk of the dental school education is centered around the boards. And the boards is also another outdated system. But board scores are one of the only metrics that dental schools have to show that they're teaching students something. So I understand the value of that. And I also understand the value of science education as a doctor. Something as specific as dentistry that's so heavily reliant on hands-on clinical practice, I just think that our time spent in school should be distributed a little bit differently. Even with the dental specific classes, like I was spending more time learning the molecular structure of the dental cement than actually using the cement often in clinical practice. Like if the tuition was like $20,000, I'm like, all right, yeah, I probably didn't need to learn anything anyways. I don't blame them for not teaching me much. $500,000 after 4 years is absurd. And even the way the dental school professors teach us is laughable.
Jay Quellen.
You mean Jacqueline?
Okay, so that's how it's gonna be.
I may be biased here because I didn't really go to class. I skipped pretty much every class possible because I was at home just studying for 10 hours a day on 2 times speed, just trying to consume as much information as possible because I felt that I could teach myself better than the professors who are speaking at like 0.5 speed. Then I realized that some of those professors weren't even dentists. Why am I learning dentistry by a microbiologist? And if they were a dentist, they didn't have their own practice. They weren't treating patients daily. So why am I willingly trying to learn from somebody who is not an ideal example of somebody who I'm trying to be? Now, those lunch and learns where those clinical dentists are flying in to speak to students, I was the one in the first row. I was there super early trying to shake hands, trying to understand, pick their brains. Like there's differences in how you spend your time. You gotta be intentional with what you're learning and who you're learning from. That's why these courses cost so much money, right? And people who have already done it and who are currently doing these things to tell you the information and how they got there. But that's not the case I found in school. Maybe you like to raise your hand for questions in class. I didn't make sense for me to go. And if you're about to start school, you'll realize really quickly. First month or two, yeah, everybody's gung-ho about going to class. It's expensive, so yeah, of course, show up. Yeah, take notes, pretend like you're super interested. But once the dental school curriculum kicks up, you start having exams, quizzes pop up all the time, a lot of assignments from lab, you'll realize that sitting there for hours on end is just not the best way to spend your time. Because the lectures are recorded online. Because that PhD is standing in front of us to talk, that's one of the big reasons why our tuition dollars are so high. Like, fire them, reduce my tuition dollars, keep the recorded lecture online. I mean, we're talking about the same material every year. The microbiology doesn't change from year to year. When will we trim the fat and remove the inefficiencies in this system to allow students to be better prepared with less crippling debt coming out of school? Okay, while we're on the topic of class selection, how about you give us more of a reason to show up to class? Why is there a class on cell biology, but there's no class to teach me how to run a successful practice? We want more classes on dental insurance. Show me how the insurance company's scamming me. First time I learned about a missing tooth clause, I lost thousands of dollars on a bridge because I didn't know how to code the insurances properly. We want more advice for how to get funding for a dental practice, how to read a P&L, how to manage inventory in offices. This should be the future of dental education. More real perspectives on things that you're forced to learn once you get into the role of being an owner dentist and you lose thousands of dollars because you didn't know these things before. Yet it was one of the least taught things in dental school. It's kind of funny because it became almost like a metaphorical pill that everybody swallowed to understand that you won't get taught this. You will have to just figure it all out on your own and make a ton of mistakes. Eventually you'll get it. But for me, I would always think about how much I'm paying for all this, and it just made me so sad. And I really felt disheartened. I lost a lot of faith in the educational system. I'll never fully come to terms with the education that I received at NYU. Maybe it's just specific to NYU, I don't know. Let me know how your dental school is. I've had a few friends that said that they liked their dental school education, but most people I've met, nothing even close to being happy about it. All right, but in all seriousness, the state of dental education in America is a very sensitive topic. Nobody wants to bring the issues that dental students and new grads are currently facing. So if you have any opinion or you appreciate what I'm saying and I'm trying to do here, all I ask is that you please share this video in your dentist group chats. Share the word, and I want to inspire conversation and create change. I really want to know if I'm the crazy one, I went to the bad school, or my problems are not just specifically towards me and other people are feeling the same way. My list of problems with dental school can go on and on forever, but it all starts with taking action. We are all aspiring doctors. We care about our communities and people. We just want to be good dentists. We're spending so much money, our family money, government money, future income money to become competent clinicians when we graduate, and yet I feel that dental school has failed us. I simply don't have the answers right now. But while making this video, I really got back to the idea of why I created this channel in the first place. My life goal now is to help the next generation and current generation of dentists to learn everything that I've learned along the way, create change and positive impact on our curriculum, education systems, and how to become better dentists for our patients going forward. One day I aim to teach students and doctors alike everything that took me a really long time to learn. I want to teach you how to get to the city of your dreams, how to overcome your student loan debt, how to be able to do full mouth implant surgeries, how to be in the top % of dental earners, and how to help the people in your community as best as you possibly can. This is now my top priority in life, and I will do everything I possibly can to change the current state of dental school education. And with time, we will be able to make a difference. Let's keep the conversation going and be optimistic about the future. That's all I got for y'all today. Dr. Rana, signing off.